What's the issue?
Transmission might be fucked. Oh shit.
Their clutch fork's fucking.
Oh, yeah.
Today we're doing a clutch on this Plasma Blue Pearl WRX Hatch, but unfortunately what turned out to be a simple clutch job ended up being a much larger issue, which you guys will find out later on in the video. To start, we're going to grab our T70 Torx bit socket to remove the transmission drain plug, which I'm going to be using the Company 23 one because it is much longer. I'm kind of having a tough time with just using my 1/2-inch ratchet, so I start to grab a breaker bar. Jordan walks by just to make sure I have the right socket. Jordan's always making sure I'm doing a good job, especially because I'm not as experienced as he is, but it is super sick of him to give me this opportunity. I've already worked on many customer cars here at the loft, and I will continue to keep putting out good work. And doing jobs like these on a lift really makes you appreciate having a lift, especially because I spent all my life doing this stuff on jack and jack stands. I'm waiting for the transmission fluid to drain out completely. Meanwhile, Jordan tells me to clean the plug of any debris and just screw it back into the transmission so we don't lose it. Now we have to remove the under tray, which thankfully wasn't too bad. I don't even have one on my personal STI. I got rid of it a long time ago, and it just makes servicing the car a whole lot easier. We need to get ready to start removing the front axles, so we need to remove the front wheels. Luckily, this guy didn't have any special key for the lug nuts, and it was just a standard socket. Enough time finally passed to drain all the fluid, and it's finally time to wheel this thing back off into the corner. The thing that's going to eat up a lot of your time when doing this is having to remove the downpipe. If I remember correctly, this was an OEM downpipe, and the 14mm bolt you're currently looking at is the bolt that holds the downpipe to the transmission, which is the support bracket for the downpipe. As far as the O2 sensor, you can technically do it one of two ways. I like to personally remove the O2 sensor from the downstream bung and leave it on the car, or you can just disconnect it from the harness and leave it in the downpipe. Whatever you choose, there's really no wrong way. I actually think I did it both ways in this video, but it's really not necessary. I start removing some of the nuts that hold the downpipe onto the turbo, then I lower the car, open the hood, and see the bad news, or rather, one piece of the bad news in this video. This car has the OEM downpipe with all the heat shields, and if you've ever taken the OEM downpipe off your WRX or STI, you know how much of a pain those heat shields are to remove. We switch gears for a bit, and I realized the top mount intercooler is going to have to come off anyway because we're going to have to mess with a couple of things up top, like the pitch stop, as well as other things in that general area like the starter and the ground for the transmission. Removing the top mount intercooler gives me so much nostalgia when I first started modifying my STI. There's a support bracket on the driver's side that has a total of 3 12mm bolts, and on this model specifically, there is one more 12mm bolt on the passenger side. The bypass valve also needs to come out, which from the looks of it, if I remember correctly, it was attached to the top mount. You also have to remove the worm clamps that hold the intercooler onto the throttle body and the infamous white pipe to the turbo. Just wiggle it a bit and the top mount intercooler will come right out. The pitch stop has to go. A cool trick with this, which I mentioned in the last video, is just remove the first bolt that is closest to the front of the car and then swing the pitch stop upwards and just tighten the rear bolt and it'll stay in place. No need to remove the entire pitch stop. The ground strap for the transmission is a very important and small item that you can overlook. That thing also needs to get removed. It is a 10mm bolt and it is mounted on the left hand side of the pitch stop. Now it's time to start removing the 14mm bolts and nuts holding the downpipe onto the turbo. My biggest piece of advice to anyone doing a downpipe removal, make sure they soak it in some type of lubricant, PV Blaster or WD-40, and then make an attempt to remove it. I usually grab a 14mm socket and ratchet and then hold the nut in place with a 14mm wrench. You guys are going to see me struggle to break it free, and I'm telling you guys, it is not that easy sometimes. You really only need the ratchet and wrench combo for 2 of the bolts on the top of the turbo that are pass-throughs. The rest are nuts on the exhaust side of the turbo, which are studs. And since this car is stock, there's going to be this little bracket that sits on top of the turbo for the heat shield, I believe. And funny enough, I was wrenching on the car, and then I hear this song play, and I tell Brandon, hey, this sounds kind of familiar. Maybe you guys know where it's from too. I thought I recognized this song. Yeah. And the last thing we need to do is remove the downpipe support bracket that is on the frame. It is another 14mm bolt. This one usually sits closer to the mid pipe. And I'm sorry for the crappy angles in this video. I just bought something which I'll utilize in the next video, which will help me get much better angles for you guys. At least we're finally done with the downpipe. Something that should have been done from the beginning is to disconnect the negative terminal from the battery, since we're going to have to remove the starter. You're going to have to remove this along with a little electrical clip on the back of it, as well as the ground wire. The starter finally comes out, which after doing a couple couple of these, the starter isn't too bad to remove, but it definitely helps if the customer has deleted the secondary air injection, since the barometer would be off that annoying metal block that sits right by the starter. At this point, I'm starting to remove all the bell housing bolts. There's a total of 4 on the left hand side and 5 on the right, not including the bottom dowels that only have the 14mm nut to remove. The next part is pretty funny. Jordan is showing me how to remove the axle nuts. He just tells me, dude, you have to hold the impact gun down, and we end up doing a couple of the steps here together, like removing the drive shaft and more.
This is a great car for, you know, practice. Obviously the ones that fucking test you are better, but it's really nice when you get a car like this that you can just keep going, you know?
Oh, I see. So completely off. Oh, nice. So is this going to be a good one?
Yep. And then you just be very careful of these teeth. You don't want to like damage the teeth.
Okay.
Get good leverage on it. Just pry it.
And it should slide out.
Yeah, and then be very careful. Once you get it there, you don't want it to like hit the seal and damage the axle seal. So grab it with your hand and very gently like wiggle it. So that way the seal stays intact. You don't want the metal ring to come out. Do the same to the other side.
Yep.
And then pretty much undo all the bell housing bolts, take them all out.
Yep. All the 14s.
Yep. And then with the drive shaft, make sure, yeah, it's in neutral.
Okay.
So we'll just take this off together right now. So this is how I do the rear. 12.
Okay.
Really narrow. Wedge this in so that, and make sure the car's in neutral, you know, so the drive shaft can move. And literally just break all these 12s loose. I just like get them all loose so I can spin them by hand. Spin it.
Rotate
it. And every transmission service I do, any clutch job, I do the rear diff fluid too.
Okay.
But you can always wait till the end.
Yeah, I would love to get to the point where you're at, where you can just put a bunch of bolts in a fucking random order and, all right, I know where everything goes. With our newfound confidence from Jordan, we start tackling some of the tasks he gives us on the other side. That's one thing I have to say about working here. Jordan is super good at trusting you enough to get the job done, and he's also a really good teacher. That also goes for Brandon as well. And this is exactly what I was talking about. After watching me struggle for about 5 minutes, instead of letting me struggle and continue struggling, Brandon decides to be a nice guy, walks over, offers to help, and gives me some good advice on how to do this in the future.
This angle, and sometimes it's easier if you can put, oh, you might be right.
Yeah, you did that shit fast
You
as
got this
fuck.
little ass fucking. And you can always unbolt this to make it easier, however, until you get comfortable doing it, I suppose.
Okay. Seriously, man, I am so fortunate to be working here because every single day I'm learning something new, which I absolutely love. And anytime I don't feel comfortable doing something or I feel like I don't understand, I just ask again. And having that type of environment to learn in is super awesome. I struggle a bit trying to remove the front left axle, but I'm just trying not to damage the seal and being very careful about it. I do end up eventually getting it though after about 2 minutes. I'm removing the shifter linkage, which is very close to the transmission cross member area. It's a bit of a pain, but it's only because it's my first time doing it as of the time of recording this video. Now it's time to finally drop the transmission. We're getting the strap around the transmission, around our transmission jack, and it's one of those ratcheting straps, which is really handy. The good thing about doing this for the first time on a WRX is that the WRX transmission is nothing like the STI, being that the STI transmission is much larger and heavier. You also always want to support the engine when you're pulling the transmission. It's going to make your life a lot easier. Getting the transmission to separate from the bell housing you would think is easier to do with a lift, which isn't wrong, but it's still kind of a pain just because in this example we have a pretty clean car as it is, but we still had to get a pry bar and wedge it in between the subframe just to start the separation of both assemblies. Now we're getting to the fun part of the video, or at least close to it. Jordan zaps off the bolts for the pressure plate, and once you pull the pressure plate off, the clutch and the throwout bearing usually come with it as well, and of course the throwout bearing is attached to the pressure plate. Once we pull off the clutch, we realize this guy may not just have a clutch problem.
Shit.
What's the issue?
Transmission might be fucked because this thing isn't even bad. Was there anything on the magnet?
Yeah, there was a bunch of metal.
Like long pieces?
Yeah, like around like this big.
Oh shit.
Fuck
yeah. Oh shit.
Now for the awkward part, you have to call the customer and tell them that they need to spend more money. But for real, it does suck having to make these phone calls, especially because I've been in the position where I've gotten these phone calls and it's not fun. And here comes the fun part of the job, trying to source a transmission on the same day. Luckily for us, there was somebody within a 30-minute drive of us that had a WRX transmission for an 08 to 14 WRX. And while Jordan gets to go and do the fun job of picking up the new transmission, I get another fun job and replace the PCV hoses on this WRX hatch, which I'll save the video and details on. It wasn't very fun, but we got it done without much issue and it ran great afterwards. Jordan comes back and he ends up torquing down the new flywheel onto the block, and of course we have already replaced the rear main seal. Jordan is now giving me the new clutch and pressure plate, which we're using an OEM Exity clutch. He trusts me enough to do this since I've already done this on my personal STI and it's not very much different. You grab the clutch and make sure it's on the right side as well. The side that says transmission side should be facing you when you go to install this onto the car. The other side is for the engine. And when you go to install the clutch and the pressure plate, make sure you use the clutch alignment tool. Now for the pressure plate bolts, you always want to use red Loctite on these. Like Jordan says, you just want a little dab on the threads that go on the end. You don't need to put a crazy amount on. Once I tighten everything back down and double check things, I start prepping the throwout bearing with a supplied packet of grease that they give you. You should be very deliberate about how much you use and where you place the grease. You always want to lubricate the input shaft area of the throwout bearing as well as the place where the clutch fork sits in. And as you guys see in the video, I'm super careful about cleaning up the excess. I'm not trying to make a giant mess. And this is where tragedy strikes on a Friday afternoon. So we buy this thing used, right? But they never told them that the pivot ball got stripped out, and I think at this point Subaru had just closed for the day. In the meantime, we start getting the old transmission off the transmission stand and we start moving the harnesses and other accessories over to the new transmission. And like you guys saw, unfortunately, there's not much else we can do today. We could not finish the job. However, at the time of putting this video out, we did end up fixing this the next day and the car ended up going back on the road and she drove perfect. That is gonna wrap up today's video at the shop. Man, it was a long day. If you guys can't tell by my wardrobe, I am absolutely spent and I'm exhausted. And then tomorrow, I get to film more videos and film my personal STI because you guys know we're getting this car ready for fabrication that we have on Monday. So we gotta mock up the new Process West intake manifold, make some adjustments to the AOS as far as moving it a bit more to the passenger side strut tower, as well as potentially maybe installing my exhaust housing, but I think I'll save that for actually doing it at the shop over there with Jordan. And yeah, more videos to come and hopefully this thing is gonna look freaking awesome. I will not do two parts like I did last time as far as showing the fabrication work. We're going to film the install and picking up the car once it's all done. Danny said he should have it done within a day. I'm just gonna say by Friday of that week, it's gonna be done and you guys are gonna see it, which I'm super excited for. It's gonna look absolutely killer. He's knocked that out of the park. Wow, $38, that's my highest fill up on ethanol so far. I hope you guys enjoy this video. A lot more content at the shop coming up and more collaborations with my tuner. Until next time, I'll catch you guys on the next one.